Hey guys, so before I start today's topic, I just wanted to say first off, thank you for all the really awesome commissions that I got this week. Got a lot of really interesting and cool character designs I got to do little, doodles of, and I even got a few people commissioning me to draw my own characters, which is always great. So it was really awesome of all of you. Thank you so much, and thank you as well for donating to the Wakfu Kickstarter. As of the time that I'm recording this, they've reached I think $120,000, and they've gotten their base goal. They've reached their first stretch goal. No signs of slowing down. So keep that up, and I really appreciate it. So anyway, so Anonymous asked me on Tumblr a while ago about how Megaman Battle Network influenced my art style and in particularly the creation of Tome, and I thought that would make for a cool little discussion topic because it's a big favorite franchise of mine. It in tandem with Dot Hack and also Reboot back in the day. Those were the biggest influences in terms of inspiring me to make Tome and just that whole universe and a lot of those characters and how they looked and everything. So I'll go back to the beginning. I was a big Mega Man fan growing up. I played a lot of the classic games. Wasn't a big X fan, unfortunately. I had a lot of friends who were big into it, still do, and I appreciate it. But I'm just it's not really like my thing. I find them a little too hard, and I'm not as interested in the lore of that one as I am with other ones, which I know is weird, but either way. So yeah, I was always a big Mega Man fan as a kid, and I remember there was an issue of Nintendo Power where I saw the character designs from the game from the first one. At the time, I think they had a little it wasn't a player's guide obviously, but it was like just one of those editorials where they had a sort of guide for the first few missions of the game or whatever. The first few bosses and everything. So I got to see Gutsman and Fireman, and I think Stoneman was in there as well, and Numberman, etc. So saw a bunch of the characters just starting off, and I that was what I was intrigued by first and foremost was seeing these kind of souped up, cool futuristic cyber versions of the Mega Man characters that I grew up with. I didn't really understand how the games worked or anything. I had no really clear concept of that specifically, but it was enough to intrigue me. And then I'm trying to remember if I bought Network Transmission, which was the GameCube Battle Network game. I'm trying to remember if I bought that one before the show aired. I think I might have possibly, but either way. So around the same time, the TV show Mega Man Anti-Warrior in the States was starting to air on Kids WB, and it's funny because I also remember at the same time Sonic X was beginning to air on the Fox box, which is oh man, they're on the same time slot. Which one do we watch? And that seems like such a no-brainer competition because Sonic X is pretty terrible, and Anti-Warrior actually, I think, even with all the edits and changes and whatever they had to do to the English version of the show, I attest that is one of the best Saturday morning anime shows for kids. Battle Network, sorry, Anti-Warrior, EXE, Mega Man, Moogman, that one. Anyway, so I started getting into the show, was really, really enjoying it, and around the same time I bought Network Transmission, like I mentioned, which is the GameCube platformer game. Which isn't great. It doesn't hold up super well, but it was enough to get me interested in just sort of the universe of the show, that in tandem with the TV show as well. So I was like, all right, I'm going to check this out. So then I bought, this is back when you could actually get the first few games, at GameStop or whatever, and then they just kind of vanished and it was impossible to find them anywhere. Yeah, I want to say the first three were already out by the time the GameCube game was out and the show was airing. I think I could be remembering wrong, but I remember I bought all three and I sped through them. I loved the crap out of them. I didn't do all the extra stuff for each one, but I did enjoy playing through at least the main quests of them. I think I remember Battle Network 3. I played through a lot of the extra side missions and after you beat the main quest kind of things. But yeah, so the first three games in particular, that was around the time that it was really like kind of cooking up in my head. That and then obviously dot hack I was already into as well. So just that kind of at the same time, it was really hitting me of like, wow, I like this, virtual world kind of thing. I mean, like with dot hack it being like a game world where the people were going into sort of a virtual reality sort of thing, and then Battle Network / NT Warrior / EXE where it was like a cyber world kind of existing just for those kind of characters. Like, so, there's this kind of cross between, crossing back and forth between the human world with the net operators and the cyber world with the net navi characters and everything. I thought that was a really cool kind of idea for a story and for a universe full of characters and stuff. So I remember also prior to the Battle Network and dot hack sort of thing hitting at the same time. I remember before that, Mike Lucas and I were keeping in touch over the TV Tomes forums, and I've mentioned in like the episode 1 commentary of Tome and a lot of other Kirblogs probably and stuff, is that we met a lot of the original people that we based the Tome characters off of in the first place on that forum. And the look of them was inspired pretty much just from like we would look at their screen names and be like, oh, what would their screen name look like as a character, like if we were to illustrate that. The idea of them being like avatar characters for like playing in an online game world, I mean, that just kind of happened in tandem with, oh, these are people we're meeting on the internet specifically, and these character designs are like representing their online kind of personas, if you know what I mean. So just the cyber world stuff that we were kind of like all invested into, it was just like we were kind of all just on the same page of like, oh, this is kind of like a neat idea, like we could kind of play around with this more. And the funny thing was when I saw the character designs in particular from Battle Network, I don't remember exactly what the hell it was about. I think it was like Megaman and Lan in particular that just really like made me like that style. And just seeing like what these new artists would do with kind of updating the old versions of the classic Mega Man characters into like cyber versions of them and whatnot. Just something about that was really, really cool to me, and it like, I don't know, just kind of inspired the shit out of me, and it, like I utterly changed and updated my drawing style based off of it, and so then when I started designing the old, like, the TV Tome Adventures versions of those characters, a lot of them were just directly like, okay, this is like inspired by Mega Man, this is inspired by Roll, this is inspired by, Gutsman or Bass or whatever. It's a lot of that kind of seeped through, and still there's elements of that, and that's kind of just meant to be in tribute to, where it all came from in the first place. Something else kind of funny that came from this later. So I never thought to look up like who a lot of these artists and staff members and everything were. I love their work, but I just never thought about that. And this is related. So a lot of people, when they look at Tome now, people think that it's inspired by Sword Art Online, and still have, at the time that I'm recording this, still have never seen an episode of that show. Never. I know that it's like a dot hack-esque kind of thing where like the characters are in an online world or whatever, and like if you die in the game, you die for real, like all that thing, but I haven't seen it, so I have no idea. There's been no influence directly on it. But funnily enough, when I went to, or rather when I wasn't going to Otakon, but over the summer of this past year, I was considering going to Otakon, and I was sold 100% when I saw that the character designer for Sword Art Online was going as a special guest. They had him and another one of the, like, I think animation directors or something on board, both going there to, make a big thing about Sword Art, because that was like what the big show of the year was. And I looked him up and I realized this gentleman, Shingo Adachi, he was also the character designer for Megaman Battle Network and also Megaman Star Force, which was the kind of sequel series to that. And as soon as I learned that, I was like, oh my god, I have to meet this guy. So I went there, and I forget which day of the con it was, but I had done a sketch of Alpha and Megaman, the EXE version of Megaman. I'm going to show a picture of it right here just to get you to see it. I drew a picture of the two of them together for him to sign. And thankfully they had a translator, and I tried to, let him know, like, oh, like, you're a really, really big influence, and, like, I really love your work. Thank you so much, etc. And he was really nice. And I felt kind of bad for the other guy because, like, I didn't know his work at all because I hadn't seen Sword Art and I didn't want to be rude. So he gave me an autograph as well, to another part of my sketchbook. But Shingo Adachi in particular, like, he was very cool, and it was just a big honor meeting him. And I didn't want to geek out too hard, or I didn't want to be too overbearing or whatever. It was nice. It was clean. It was cool, and it was very gratifying. So Battle Network, even though it's and Star Force by extension, just that whole kind of line of Mega Man games, even though it's it hasn't continued as just as Mega Man hasn't necessarily continued for many years at this point, it's still something that I look back on very fondly. I remember, I think a couple of years ago, I went back and I marathoned all through Megaman EXE Warrior, and so I love that series. And what else? I've thought about going back and replaying some of the games as well. I played through the first 3 at least twice, and I've beaten 4, 5, and 6. So they're great games. I really enjoy them. I know some people are like, yeah, they're not real Mega Man games. Like, no, they're not. But I mean, they're not standard Mega Man games, but they're games that I love, and I love all Mega Man stuff. And it's another case. Like many things, if it had not existed, then the stuff that I'm doing today wouldn't exist either. So, I attribute a lot to that. So, those are a few memories. Have you played Mega Man? Have you played Mega Man Battle Network? Did you watch Mega Man EXE Warrior? Did you read the comics? Did you collect the toys or the cards or anything like that? Do you have any memories with the franchise? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear some stories about that. Do you think it's cool how it's sort of influenced Tome? Like, does that really bleed through? Do you think that that's the case, and do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Let me know. If you got any other ideas for topics for future Kirblog's, tweet at me, shoot me a message on Facebook or Tumblr or anything like that, and you might inspire the next topic. Who knows? Meanwhile, I just put out on Thursday of this week the first Tome short in HD, the Hackers short starring Rockman and Doubling, which is crazy because I can't believe it's been like over 2 years since I made it. I remember like being in California with the two of them, the two guys that voice Rockman and Doubling. We created that short just kind of on the fly and put it out. It was a lot of fun. Go check that out, and I'll have more stuff next week as per the usual. I'm working on a few new things. Look for some details on that soon, and thanks for listening. See you guys later.